Coping with Tre Tailor, giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life, because we'll always be coping with something. Coping. Hey there, and thank you so much for joining us for Coping. I'm Tre Tailor. We're giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life, because we will always be coping with something. Today, we are coping with health disparities in the minority community. The South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus is sponsoring their third annual Minority Health Summit. Dr. Ivory Thigpen joins us. He is chairman of the South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus. Dr. Thigpen, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you.
The pleasure is mine, always, Tre.
Thank you so much. We're going to come right back and talk to Dr. Thigpen about what's going on with the caucus and the Minority Health Summit, which is this Thursday at the Brooklyn Banquet and Conference Center. FYI, you still have time to register for the free lunch and learn that begins at 9:30 a.m. But first, hey, don't forget that scrolling at the bottom of the screen, we've got all types of information for you, including community events, job listings, financial resources, including help with your mortgage, rent, and also bills. We're streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So please post, share, like, and follow so we can get the message to the masses. I'm Tre Tailor, and you are watching Coping. Today, we are coping with health disparities in the minority community. Dr. Ivory Thigpen, who is chair of the South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus, joins us. The 2023 Minority Health Summit is being held, a third annual, as a matter of fact, this Friday at the Brooklyn Banquet and Conference Center. It's a free event. Dr. Thigpen, why is this an important seminar for the caucus to host again this year?
Well, as you know, Tre, health is essential and important to all individuals. When we look at even the economic impact of health and health concerns and even illnesses, we see that it is one of the number one, if not the number one factor that really causes persons to have financial difficulties and troubles, particularly if individuals aren't insured.
Yeah.
But beyond insurance and the cost of healthcare, we know that as African Americans, even though we represent in South Carolina slightly under 30% of the population, when we start talking about debilitating diseases such as blood glucose issues and blood pressure issues and heart conditions and kidney issues, and even amputees, we see that we make up a much larger representation than what we make up in the demographic, and therefore disparities.
Yeah. We are coping with health in the minority community. Chair of the South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus, Dr. Ivory Thigpen, joins us. Their third annual Minority Health Summit is being held this Friday from 10 until 1 at the Brooklyn Banquet and Conference Center. It's a free lunch and learn, and you still have time to register. Well, Dr. Linda Bell, who is a state epidemiologist, will be one of the presenters. And then also there is a presentation about cardiovascular issues, heart disease, stroke, hypertension, which we know is a big issue in our community. Dr. Moses Yadoa, who is a clinical assistant professor of internal medicine at USC, will be there. But then there'll be several panels, one of which will be wellness, self-care, which is mental, physical, and nutritional health. Representative Heather Bauer, who is co-owner of Warrior Fitness Gym, will be there along with Dr. Robert Banks, who is South Carolina Department of Mental Health State Director, and Dr. Holly Williams, president of the South Carolina Chiropractic Association. You being a chiropractor doctor, that's near and dear to your heart. Let's talk a little bit about why and how chiropractic health is so important to African Americans as far as wellness and self-care.
Right. Typically most individuals wait till something goes wrong before they seek intervention or care from a doctor. And we know that to statistically be true, especially in our communities. We know that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so when we talk about health, we have to talk about wellness. We have to talk about caring about our body and living a holistic lifestyle that puts our body in the best position to age well. And so chiropractic definitely is a complement that comes alongside of traditional allopathic medicine, because when we talk about life is motion. So, biomechanically, how you age, how you wear down your body, and even from a nutritional standpoint, what you put in your body. Thomas Edison is famous for saying that the doctor of the future will prescribe no medicine, but instead will interest his patients in the food that they eat and the care of their frame. And this will be the true medicine to the body. And so it's not an either or conversation. It's a both and, a full complement of healthcare providers to help all of our people, particularly in the African American community, live healthier lives.
Yeah, I love that you say we don't go to the chiropractor until we need it. Our back hurts, we're in a car accident or something like that. But how often should people be going to the chiropractor, Dr. Thigpen?
Well, we have a lot of bones in our body. The reference or the analogy that I often bring quick attention to is our teeth. We brush them and we maintenance them and we care for them on a regular basis. And I thank the dentistry profession for the work that it does. But if there's any bones that we should maintenance on a regular basis, it's the ones that support us, that allow us to have mobility and move around. Because statistically, we know that when individuals lose mobility, their health declines drastically.
Yeah.
And so particularly if you have aging parents or even you yourself, if you're a weekend warrior or a very active person, keeping your joints properly aligned, helping to ensure that you, again, age well. These are the things that will allow you to live not only better quality of life, but very well can add to the quantity and length of your life. And so I don't think there's a set one. I think each of us have to know our bodies. But I don't think we should necessarily wait till we have an ache or an issue or a problem. I think we should be regularly checking on it. The other quick analogy I give is the alignment of our tires. We all have to buy tires frequently. And they usually come with warranties with so many miles, 40,000, 30,000, 60,000 miles. But that warranty is voided if you don't keep them properly aligned. Because if they're not properly aligned, they will wear down faster. And we can get new tires. We can't get a new body. So the same is true if we are misaligned and our body degenerates, which is called arthritis. Osteoarthritis, not rheumatoid arthritis, and it wears down one side faster than the other or one joint faster than the other. It really can cause debilitating problems as not only we seek to compensate, but just lose our mobility.
Yeah. Dr. Ivory Thigpen joins us. He is a chiropractor and chair of the South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus. We are coping with health in the minority community. The caucus's 2023 Minority Health Summit is this Friday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's a free lunch and learn. All you have to do is register. You can see the registration information on the screen. We would love for you to be there. One of the panels, as we just said, is about wellness, self-care, mental, physical, and nutritional health. Representative Heather Bauer will join the panel along with Dr. Robert Banks, who is acting state director of the Department of Mental Health in South Carolina, along with president of the Chiropractic Association, Dr. Holly Williams. One of the other panels, Dr. Thigpen, is disproportionate health disparities in minority communities. Representative Terry Alexander from Florence will be on that panel, along with VP of Accountable Communities at Prisma Health, Angela Jenkins, and Christian Sora, who is the Medicaid Managed Care Healthy Blue for Blue Cross Blue Shield. Listen, I think the pandemic was probably one of the biggest indicators of, for those who didn't know, I think those of us with melanin in our skin knows there is a disproportionate health care for minority communities. But I think the pandemic really shone a light on how about the haves and the have-nots as far as healthcare is concerned.
Especially when we start talking about some of the comorbidities that made COVID even more deadly. We saw that we represented a greater percentage of those persons. And oftentimes, what we thought was, a virus that would be, easily handled or managed by our immune system. We saw individuals who were either obese, and we don't have to list them all, but we saw individuals, particularly in our community, really not only suffer tremendously, but many died. But what it did was it opened, I think, collectively our eyes as a community that we need to do more. And many people, I think, have, I'm being one of them, made major life changes in order to ensure that we're better represented or less represented when it comes to these numbers. And so, we don't know what the next coronavirus will be.
That's right.
Or the next airborne flu-like illness. There are many descriptors and ways to describe it, but we do know that it has definitely impacted our communities drastically, and we have to get out information, educate, as well as get individuals to change their lives. I'll boast, in the last 2 years, or really in the last year, I've dropped about 40 pounds.
Wow.
Now, I'd like to tell myself prior to COVID that I carried my weight well. And I worked out, I ran, I lifted, but I was still really probably too large for, and it created some other challenges. And I was one of those ones who was hard-headed enough, right, to believe that, as I age, I can eat what I want to as long as I work out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a lie.
It is a lie. That's what we tell. I mean, because I think it's not either or, it's and.
It's both and. It is.
Yeah.
And so I feel much better. I'm much healthier, but I also know that this is a clarion call to all people of color, particularly as we are, again, overrepresented in many of these categories. That it takes small changes. One of the small changes I did is an exercise regimen. And I know that Representative Heather Bauer, who owns an exercise gym, that she'll speak more about it. But sometimes it's just simple calisthenics on a regular routine basis that can make drastic differences and changes.
Yeah, Representative Ivory Thigpen joins us. He is chair of the South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus. The 2023 Minority Health Summit is this Friday, beginning at 9:30 at the Brooklyn Banquet Conference Center. It's free. Here's a great opportunity for you to find out kind of what's going on in our state as far as healthcare is concerned, so that you can learn, you can change your lifestyle, as Dr. Thigpen said, so that you can advocate for the people in your family, in your community. And listen, it's always a great networking opportunity too. I always talk to young entrepreneurs or old entrepreneurs, anybody, to be in spaces like this, to meet and greet. You talk about a great networking opportunity. This is definitely it. And it's free, and you get to eat. So, and we've got some great door prizes, so it's going to be great. Dr. Thigpen, this is the 50th anniversary of the South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus. What an amazing milestone to celebrate 50 years of advocating for Black and Brown South Carolinians.
No doubt about it. I think many people may not be aware of the long history of work that the South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus has done. From its inception, again, 50 years ago, these elected officials who were in small numbers realized that they were stronger together than apart. And together they came and set an agenda, not simply for the present concerns and issues that they were fighting, which there were many, but also with the understanding that there was a need for longevity and a plan to ensure that as the years pass, that African Americans will continue to have, and minorities, opportunities and be invited to and included in much of the prosperity that has come to the state. That work is still relevant today, even though I know we as a people have made many gains. Many of those gains we're seeing rolled back. And whether we talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, and the attack that has come in the form of CRT, as we see, drastic examples of it in Florida. But even when we talk about something that I've been heralding quite a bit is the number of African-American and minority jurists that we have in our judicial system and bench. We elect over 158, and 20 of them are African-American, and we're going to lose a couple more in the next year. When we talk about even women, because women do make up more than 50%, a majority of our state, but they only represent 49, which is about 30% of the judges that we elect. And so one of the things that we talk about, particularly as African-Americans, not only have disparity in health, we also have the disparity that we're overrepresented in the criminal justice system. And so it behooves us that when we enter into this system, that we have representation on the other side that is making judgments and sentencing. Because if you can't understand a person's plight and the challenges and the things that cause them to be in that position, whether that be a minority or a female, because we can see from the abortion bill that has just passed, if you don't have someone on the other side that can appeal with the plight of a woman, then oftentimes the sentencing can be too harsh. They can be unsympathetic and empathetic because people can't relate. Our bench now is 75% white male, and it looks like waiting in the dock are a few more white males. So we have to be intentional. If Lady Justice is going to be blind, our bench and many other things should be reflective of the demographics of the state.
Absolutely. Well, we know that the South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus, as they have for the last 50 years, will continue to advocate for Black and brown people in the Palmetto State on issues just like that and other things. And we'll keep folks in the loop of all the other great things that are going to happen this year to commemorate the 50th anniversary. Dr. Ivory Thigpen is the chair of the South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus. Hey, don't forget about the Minority Health Summit that the caucus is hosting for, again, a third year. And it's going to be held this Friday at the Brooklyn Banquet and Conference Center. It's a free lunch and learn. You can see the information on the screen so you can register to be there. Dr. Thigpen, thank you so much for joining us. As always, appreciate all that you do for each and every one of us. Thank you for taking out this time to join us, and we'll see you Friday.
Thank you, Trey, and personal invitation for all out there from me to attend our summit this Friday.
Absolutely. All right. The South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus, 3rd Annual Minority Health Summit going on. You've got your personal invitation from the chair, so we hope to see you there. I'm Tre Tailor, coming right back with your inspirational moment and more next on Coping.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday life, but when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Hey there. Thank you so much for joining us on Coping. I'm Tre Tailor. We're giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life, because we will always be coping with something. Hey, before I leave, I want to share this devotional with you. This is from Conversations with God. It's from Cheryl Mims Williams with Agape Counseling and Training Services in Columbia, South Carolina. This is such a great book. It includes some of her prayers, some of her diary readings, and devotionals. This one says, "Trust me, my child. I know you're having a hard time praying, studying, and focusing on me. I know you don't like the way this feels. You can't rely on your feelings." That's good. This is about knowing, being faithful, and holding on. Knowing even if you don't feel or see it. Isn't that such a wonderful reminder that God is with us always, even if we don't feel it, see it, or hear it? We've got to know it. That's what faith is all about. It's from Cheryl Mims Williams from Agape Counseling and Training Services. This is called Conversations with God. I'm Tre Tailor. Thank you so much for joining us on Coping. We're giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life, because we will always be coping with something. The good thing about it is that we're never alone. Thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping, learning the way that we thrive all together. Coping, finding out what's real. Coping, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal. Coping with stress, coping with strife, bringing hope for success, for improving our life. Coping beyond hoping to do more than survive. Ways to live a healthy life. Coping and promoting, learning what you can do. 6 ways to a better you. Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever.